were bamboozled at one park very early on. It was very stressful because we were blocking traffic. We've stayed in a lot of RV parks since we became full-time RVers over a year ago, and I've reviewed quite a few of them on this channel. In today's episode, I'd like to talk about what I look for when picking out an RV park. Okay, the first criterion is location. And to be perfectly honest, this is usually the biggest driver of where we pick to camp. We're typically looking to be close to certain attractions, or it's a midway stop on the way to somewhere. Either way, location matters a lot. But once we figured out the general location where we're looking to stay, we pull up a list of RV parks and then we use the rest of these criteria to narrow the field. And the first of these big criteria is whether or not the park has full hookups. Now, this isn't going to be the case for everybody. Some people do fine with partial hookups. So typically in RV lingo, this is electric and water hookups, but no sewer hookup at your site. So you would have to either use the campground facilities, or you would have to go to a dump station and dump your gray and black water when your tanks are full. And this can be not a big deal if you have large tanks in your rig. Unfortunately, we do not have large tanks in our rig, and even more of a big deal is the fact that we are both working stiffs, my husband Justin and I. We aren't retired and we do not come from money. I run my own business and Justin works remotely as a manager in tech. So this means that he has a lot of Zoom meetings, and because he's at the management level, he needs to look good, he needs to look professional and presentable at all times, so showers are a must for him. And again, we don't have very big tanks, so we can't go long without dumping our gray and black water if we're using the facilities. And we don't want to deal with the hassle that would entail of packing everything up, going to some kind of dump station, dumping everything, then coming back to our site and unpacking again and settling again every couple of days. Because it's already a lot to balance our work lives with the travel schedule if we add in the tank management. Now, for us, it's not worth it. We would rather just find a park that has full hookups so we don't even have to think about it, even if it's a little harder to find and even if it's a little bit more money. Now, for the most part, this has been fairly straightforward. We're usually able to find full hookups in the general area where we want to be, and it's typically really straightforward when you go to an RV park website to see whether or not they have full hookups. I will say that we were bamboozled at one park very early on. I'm not going to name names here. This was one of our very first camping experiences before I started reviewing RV parks. But this place claimed to have full hookups, when in fact they just had one single dump station that was near the exit. And their roads were also very narrow on top of that, so if you were dumping, you were blocking all the traffic in and out of the RV park. It was not a convenient setup. You know, there are a lot of parks and campgrounds that do have a single dump station, and that's fine, but to claim that you have full hookups and then to have one of your full hookups not be at the actual site but be in a very poorly located dump station, it kind of rubbed us the wrong way. Luckily, that was a place we stayed when we were blazing it from our home in Dallas up to see some friends in Cleveland, where we lived for many years, and it ended up not being a big deal because we were only staying for a couple of days, so our tanks could last us until we dumped when we left. That said, it was still very stressful because we were blocking traffic in. Justin was very nervous the whole time. Thankfully, nobody came by. We actually timed it pretty well when we were checking out versus when people were coming back in from sightseeing and check-ins and all that. But boy, whew. All right. So that's hookups. Something else we don't have within our RV is a washer and dryer. Most RVs don't. You know, there are a few people who are in the big Class A buses and the fifth wheels that do have a washer and dryer. We're in a Class C. We don't really have a place to put it. Our tanks are small, like I was saying. The water from the loads would make it so we have to dump even more than we already do. It would be a hassle. And again, we have to look presentable. So that means that we need clean clothes. And therefore, RV parks with laundry facilities are always a huge plus for us. We do have a little leeway on this, more leeway than we do on the full hookup situation, however, I will say. We have small closets, therefore we don't have a lot of clothes in the RV, and we wear our clothes over and over again. And because of this, ideally, I do laundry once a week. That's what I try to do and what I will do if I have a laundromat available. But in a pinch, we can stretch that out to about 2 weeks if we need to before we start running out of clothes. And we have done that a few times, especially when we're moving fast from place to place, or we find an area where there's a good deal with full hookups and we can stay there for a week, but there's no laundromat. Sometimes we'll just kind of be like, okay, fine. Knowing, especially if we're anywhere near a major city, if we really needed to do laundry, I could go into town and use a regular city laundromat. I don't really like to do that. I like RV park laundromats better. They tend to be more laid back, and I can just walk to the laundry room to do my laundry, and then while I'm in cycles I can go back to my rig or hang out in some kind of outdoor patio area. I actually really like RV park laundromats. I prefer them greatly to the days when I had to do my clothes in the city laundromats when I did not have a washer and dryer. So yeah, but it is an option, if I really had to. So far, I can stay a week at an RV park without a laundromat and get by. But yeah, couldn't do it for more than 2 weeks. And then the next thing we look for, and some of you might be surprised that this is so far down the list, but the next thing we look for is cost. I know some people, it's like cost. Look, if a place is cheap, but it gives me the heebie-jeebies, if nothing works, if it's in the wrong area, I don't want to go there. That's why I'm talking about this a bit later. Once I have my kind of basic requirements, then I start looking at cost. Now, when it comes to cost, ideally you want to spend as little as possible, but at the same time, especially for us, because we are working, we don't want a lot of extra drama from our neighborhood for however long we're there, from the week or the month that we're living somewhere. So we want it to feel like a nice, safe place to live. We want to be happy there. We don't want to be worrying about the RV park, because actually the impact on our jobs could cost us more money than the overnight fee ever would. I talked about another video, but Justin has done so well at his job while he's on the road that he was actually promoted. I run a business. I have online stores I run. I have some side business with friends. I'm a writer with some books out. I obviously do some YouTube on the side on top of all of that. I have consulting clients. The more comfortable I am and the more able I am to be productive, that's money. That's money. By trying to save too much and stay at a place that was really disruptive or stressful in its own right, it would cost us more money than it would ever save us. So we're okay with paying more, but it has to be worth it. And some of these RV parks that charge more, not worth it. Some of these places you're like, wow. It's rare these days because prices have gone up all across the industry, but every now and then you get to an RV park, you're like, wow, this is a deal. I've seen people charge twice this and have a worse experience, but I would say more commonly people are overcharging. So it's kind of a consideration. The cost has to be right. We'll put it that way. And that leads me kind of into my next thing I look at, and that's whether they offer any discounts. So this could be anything like the membership program, something like Your Good Sam or your KOA loyalty, and even Escapees has a discount program, like that kind of thing. Those are great. There's also military and senior discounts some places offer, which is excellent. And then as well, a lot of parks have length of stay discounts. So their daily rate is the highest. If you stay for a week or a month, your per day price tends to go down. Now, that doesn't happen with every park. Famously, Fort Wilderness at Disney World does not offer weekly or monthly rates, although you can book it out for as long as they have available. They don't give you any discount, and that's because they know what they got. But the vast majority of parks will give you some kind of discount if you stay weekly or monthly. That's going to vary as well, but typically when they do, weekly often comes out to getting like a day a week free. Monthly will often be quite a good discount where it comes out to 2 or 3 weeks of rent. So that's pretty cool when you can get that. So definitely a perk when they do that. Okay, and then next criteria, this is like huge. These aren't necessarily in order, but they're the order I thought of them when I was planning the video. This is a deal breaker, and that is site length. So our RV is 32 feet long. So the campground we stay at needs to be able to accommodate a rig of that size. Frankly, these days that's somewhat mid-range for an RV. There are buses that are up to 45 feet long, so that's a good 13 feet longer than us. But back in the day, RVs used to be much shorter. So some older campgrounds that haven't restructured over the years, we sometimes can't stay at them because they can't accommodate rigs of our length. And that's important. That's something sometimes you don't even see until you're absolutely at the point where you're like, okay, I want to book the stay. You click in and you put in how long your rig is, and they're like, sorry, we don't have anything for that length. And it's like, crud. Okay. And the final thing that we look for when we're trying to figure out what RV park to pick is the reviews. Obviously, you look at the overall summary score first, it's right there. We typically will look at both RV Life and Google reviews. Sometimes there's difference. Usually the RV Life reviews are much more detailed. The Google reviews tend to be less detailed, but there are more of them, and there are benefits to both of those. But we don't just look at the overall numerical score when making this determination. We also take the time to read through the reviews, to read through a healthy sampling of them. And the reason we do that is we want to make sure that the people who are evaluating the RV park have the same needs and preferences as we do. There are many times that people are really upset about things that don't matter to us. For example, we do not care if there's a swimming pool at the RV park. But for some people, that is huge. That is the whole reason they're going. They want the swimming pool, especially if they have kids. They want that. There are even some times if there's a negative review that will read as positive to us. It'll be a bonus. For example, somebody might be like, oh, this park is too quiet. There's not enough like kids running around and enough hustle and bustle for my kids. It's just a quiet park. I was hoping for something that was a little bit more lively. And for us, it's like, that's great because we know we'll be able to sleep at night. We know we'll have a quiet atmosphere during the day while we're both trying to work. That's like A+ for us. So one thing I always do, in addition to looking at the top rated scores, is I sort by lowest rated scores. So I can pull those up and see what people's major complaints are about the park. So I can get the pros with the best reviews and the cons, and then make an informed decision. Now, sometimes this takes a little bit of time to do, but if we're staying somewhere for a week or a month, it's especially important. You know, it could save a lot of hassle. The good news is you get faster at it as you do it. You get better at figuring out what's important to you and scanning the information and making an informed decision quickly. Anyway, it was great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.